I was with the Trump motorcade yesterday, and I would say that the people at Versailles at the Cuban restaurant, I wouldn't call them cult members, would you?
No, the definition of a cult is a group of people who are excessively supporting one another and a cause, all about conformity and compliance and intolerance of anyone who doesn't agree with what their mission is. Okay, that's the definition of what the left is engaged in right now. Speaking of cults, all about conformity and compliance, and heaven forbid you don't agree with them.
So generally, if you're going to try to make the case that something doesn't apply, you don't then willingly define it in a way that makes it definitely seem like it applies. That, I don't even know if that's the best definition of a cult, but if that is your definition of a cult, then yeah, the MAGA people definitely fit under it. They're not the only ones. Can you make the case that there are some people on the left that fit under this? Sure, for movements, maybe in some cases for people. Is it broadly applicable? No. The sheer volume of left on left fighting politically should probably be an indication that dissent is allowed. But for the MAGA people, the idea that conformity and being way too zealous about a person, being completely unable to see their flaws, being conned by them to hand over money that you're ill-equipped to give up, not accepting the reality of a situation, believing that they can never fail, being willing to put your body, your life on the line to defend the great leader. That is very much stuff that is true of the MAGA movement. Viviana, what do you think?
I think where we really delve into some cult-like behavior is the fact that the MAGA movement is also really getting intertwined with religious extremism. And their ideologies are really becoming, married quite severely, and we're seeing it all over the country. These movements that are marrying politics and religion. So we're really seeing it more solidified as a cult now. Like you said, on the left are there. I would argue that how involved you are in politics, whether it's the DNC or the GOP, it is rather cult-like. This two-party system, and you're over there wheeling and dealing in DC, you got to toe the party line. And I think that's dangerous on any side of politics. And so, here on this program, for instance, sure, do we share a lot of the same ideologies? Yeah, but I've also come over here and blasted Nancy Pelosi many times. I'm not a fan of hers and never made it a secret. Nobody's here is gonna say, get her off the show whenever. You guys are encouraging discussion. We wanna be, we want to question things. And I think that's not allowed in MAGA. It's either you are wearing the red hat or you're not. And yeah, any political extremist is gonna fall into those cult-like ideologies. So it's not immune to the left, but it's definitely happening on the right.
Tomorrow, as of when we're recording this, Trump is expected to be arraigned. We'll see exactly what happens with that. Will he be held? Almost certainly not. He'll be released. But what we do know is that it is going to be a scene. Protests are expected. Donald Trump has been amplifying those protests over the past few days, saying you should go down there. And we all remember the last time he did that, it worked out super well for everyone. Now, in advance of all of that, the online chatter in some of the most pro-Trump areas of the internet has been aggressive, I'll say. We need to start killing these traitorous F stains, one Trump supporter on the Donald wrote. This is a message board that used to be on Reddit and then was eventually kicked off because it was too crazy even for Reddit. Another user added, it's not gonna stop until bodies start stacking up. We are not civilly represented anymore, and they'll come for us next. Some of us, they already have. So they've bought into that thing of they're not coming for Trump, they're coming for everybody, but Trump is in the way. I'll never understand that when so many of the crimes Trump has committed are for his own personal benefit and have nothing to do with anybody, but they believe it. Trump supporters have made specific threats too, not just generally, I wanna start murdering people. One post says, a little bit about Merrick Garland, his wife, his daughters. Under the post, another user replied, his children are fair game as far as I'm concerned. One said Jack Smith should be arrested the minute he steps foot in the red state of Florida. So generally start killing people. Start killing the specific people who, Merrick Garland isn't even involved in the investigation, but he's in the Biden administration, so definitely kill him. Kill his family members, kill his kids. Specifically, kids are totally fine to go for, and at the very least, lock up Jack Smith. So they're not pulling their punches rhetorically. It could not be any more clear. We have yet to see this week if Trump supporters will actually start killing people. It has happened multiple times over the past year. People have written the manifestos, they've picked up an assault rifle, they've gone and killed people, or they've bashed in the heads of politicians' husbands. It's almost become routine. Will it happen this week? I don't know for sure, but there are a lot of people waiting in the wings, rooting for it to happen. What do you think, Francesca?
I think that this level of political violence is something that the mainstream news does not at all take seriously enough. I mean, you see, right? We had CNN head Chris Licht like leaving office. I mean, leaving his position. It's like, and obviously it wasn't for that town hall, but that's what happens when you platform someone like this. And I think in a large part, mainstream news is so obsessed with like, the Trump rodeo, the Trump show. It's fascinating. It's crazy. But like, this is what actually happens. What actually happens is people die. Yes, homes are broken into. Like bomb threats are issued. It's been that since day one of the campaign, when immigrants were attacked, and the verbatim word that their assailant left them with was, "It's Donald Trump's America now." Right? And so like, this is all like, I hope he goes to jail, all this, but the die has been cast on political violence. And the question is, how do we put this back in the bag? What happens now? And we're gonna need a Justice Department. We're sadly, because we're gonna need an FBI, and we're not gonna need an FBI setting people up on like ridiculous entrapment, schemes. Because there are actual militias and people and psychos, right? Yeah. We don't need them to create new plots. They're being carried out now.